Kush and Chemtrails, the world's most dangerous podcast.
Before we get out of here, can I take you on a little trip?
Man, is it time to trip?
Yeah, dog, let's do it.
Trip
on this.
Nobody should be asked to handle this trip.
That's some heavy shit.
When you were tripping.
All right, brother. I was doing a little bit of research. You're familiar with the Last Supper, the painting by Da Vinci?
See?
Okay. This is Jesus, and to his right, this is Mary Magdalene.
Okay.
And what fits perfectly right there, brother, is the Great Pyramid, if you invert it. Let me show you a picture of it. You see it right there?
I do.
So it fits perfectly right there in between them. So what someone just noticed, which is really interesting. So this is a brand new find, bro. This is less than a month old. It's about 3 weeks old.
Oh, wow.
Sacred Geometer. Shout out to Jane, Jain 108 on IG. I've done some of his webinars on sacred geometry and stuff like that. It's really good.
Okay.
All right. So what one of his buddies actually found is on this back wall. We've gone over the triptych architecture in the past, how they have the triples, and that's also on the front of Skull and Bones. On their they have this place called the Tomb,
Okay.
and it has the same type of vibe. Anyways, in the back you see those Hebrew characters
Which
that
ones?
are tracing the outline. That's not part of the original picture.
On the right side?
On all windows,
Oh, okay. I got
right
you.
here.
I see what you're talking about.
And right here, you
Okay.
see this, and right here. Okay, so it makes this equation right here, right? 7 pi to the 7th power, 7 divided, okay? You see that? All right, now, what they did was they substituted the perimeter of the Great Pyramid, and it worked with the equation, right? And the reason they did that is because if you invert the Great Pyramid, you get, it fits perfectly, right? So what they found was that Great Pyramid, when you enter it and you divide that number, it's so 3,024 feet is the base all the way around. Okay, it's 756 feet on each side. So 756 times 4 is 3,024. You divide it by 7 and you get 432, the sacred number. And that number's all inside the Great Pyramid. So then they took it a step further, and this is where it gets really, really fucking cool, bro. Is I've shown you this before. The Great Pyramid is a scale model of one hemisphere of the Earth at a ratio of 1 to 43,200. So there's 432 again. Then, of course, as above, so below, you'd have a diamond down here, right? Okay. I just showed you this. This is the Louvre in Paris. This is the upside down pyramid. This is the right side up one. Okay. And according to them, they say that Mary Magdalene's tomb is down here. That's something else completely different. I don't buy that. I think it's symbolic.
Right.
But this is interesting. A guy who studies Freemasonry, he's not a Freemason, but he studies it. He said he believes that it's one of their mottos, which is visit the interior of the earth, and by rectifying, you will find the secret stone. So if you talk about like repentance and changing your life, right? So visit the interior of yourself,
Right.
right? And by rectifying, by repenting, you'll find the secret stone, the philosopher's stone that they've talked about in alchemy, right? So I thought that was really interesting, but this is where it gets really cool. We've talked about Jehudi, Thoth, Hermes, whatever you want to call him, and his concentric circles of consciousness, of Christ consciousness. So every circle you draw, you square, and it's called squaring the circle, and you keep doing it until you get pi, right? Until you get the golden ratio.
Kind of like the bubble situation.
Yeah, exactly. So right here, you see how they did it? You got this is the earth, the sphere. This is the pyramid. He even put the Vitruvian man in there, which is also Da Vinci's, and it all fits perfectly in there. But right here at the top, when you square the circle, you're missing the capstone. Right? The capstone gets cut off on the pyramid. So his theory is the capstones, the gold capstones, were never there, bro. They were symbolic. They were alchemical. They were symbolic. Because when you square it, 432 is all in the pyramid. And by using that number, when you square the circle, you cut off the capstone. It's missing right there. That's what that says.
Yeah.
So they know this. Their math is precise. It would make sense. You're turning lead into gold. It would make sense that they would be symbolic and that they were never there, ever. It's just symbolic. And I thought that was marvelous, bro.
That is some good work.
I thought it was marvelous. So some other interesting facts about 432. When you look at it at 432 hertz, Pythagorean tuning was set to 432. The original Stradivarius was designed to tune to 432. We talked about this. American music industry began using 440 standard in 1926, and modern orchestras began using a 440 in 1936. Let's see what else we got. There's 24 hours in a day, 12 hours in a half day, 720 minutes in a half day, 4,320 seconds, 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 60 times 432, 25,930, which is the orbital precession of the equinox. Saturn's orbital precession of zodiac in Saturn years, 864, which is a multiple of 432. The approximate diameter of the sun, 864,000 miles, which is also 432. The approximate diameter of the moon, 2,160, which is half of 432. So the numbers everywhere.
Crazy, right.
Yeah. This is something you discussed in the segment Lunar Deception. If you guys haven't seen that, you definitely got to check it out. But if the sun was not 400 times larger than the moon and also 400 times further away from Earth than the moon is, we would not have total solar eclipses or total lunar eclipses, which is a mathematical anomaly. It's pretty much impossible.
Yeah.
And last but definitely not least, 432 times 432 is 186,624, which is the approximate speed of light. It's an error of 0.3%.
Very close, yeah.
So,
Not by mistake, people.
yeah, no. So those are the great things about 432. So if you guys ever see that number, you add it up. 4 plus 3 plus 2 is 9. It's a very sacred number. That's theosophic deduction. You look that up when you add up the numbers. But the squaring, the circle, and missing the capstone blew my mind. That is a possible. I never thought about that. Ever. I've always just been like, yo, they were limestone encased.
Right.
You know, the gold capstones, and perhaps they were limestone encased, right? But maybe the capstone was never there.
Right.
But regardless, it was really interesting. And again, shout out to Jane, Jain 108, great sacred geometer, and you guys can find him on IG.
Good stuff.
Kush and Chemtrails, the world's most dangerous podcast.